Hello, everybody. Welcome to an all new Beyond the Barricade. We are live, and in a moment, I'm going to be bringing in my very, very special guest, the one, the only, Zakk Ramses. How you doing, bud?
I'm great, man. Thank you for having me on and getting to chat up tonight. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming on.
Oh,
Now, how do you say your tag name?
that is
I'm
always a great first question. And there's a couple pronunciations. The main two are the miasma or the miasma. It's a Greek term, and by design, it's not common because Zakk
right,
Ramses in general is uncommon, and so you need a term that identifies what you're getting into here. And so,
right. All right. I've been trying to say it all week. It's like, man, I don't know if I'm getting it right, but I
you're good.
appreciate you letting everybody know. First thing I want to talk about is the upcoming VPW show Notorious. I'm going to bring that graphic up real quick.
Awesome.
Is this your debut at VPW?
It is. It is. I am a Long
I
Island
know.
native. I've lived here my whole life, with the exception of my college time. But
Right.
BPW is uncharted terrain for me. With that said, so I'm very excited to finally, I would say, dip a toe in. But again, I don't dip my toe. I cannonball in, and that's what we're about to do on
Nice.
Saturday. So it's going to be
All
good.
right. I'm going to bring it up real quick. You are fighting against Travis Jacobs, Percy Ryan, and Absolute Alvin Alvarez in a fatal four-way. Look at that.
Yeah, big guns here. We're gonna you're
Big
gonna see
guns.
some good stuff here. You know,
Have
fortunately,
you?
I am familiar with some of the guys here, and
Okay.
I think I've got this scouted well enough that I got this under control.
Who have you crossed paths with?
So I have wrestled Alvin before, only once, but it was a successful victory for Zakk Ramses.
Okay.
I have crossed paths with Travis before, but we've never actually shared the ring together. But we've been in many a locker room together. And
All
Percy,
right.
to my knowledge, I don't think I've actually encountered in person before. So it's a mix of familiar and unfamiliar, which I welcome it all. I love it.
Right. All right. Awesome. Awesome. I can't wait for that match. And while I have you on, I'm going to also announce in conjunction with VPW, we're going to be doing a VPW giveaway. 2 tickets to the February 11th show. Details will be coming up next week in one of our broadcasts. So make sure you watch every broadcast for you to get your chance to answer the trivia question and win VPW tickets.
Don't want to miss out on that one. That's
Don't want to miss out on that one. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first giveaway as far as tickets.
That's a great start. If someone's lucky enough to win those, good on them. Good stuff.
Absolutely. All right, let's start off with the basic thing that you're here for is to promote your new YouTube show.
Correct.
So start with that. Let's talk about how the concept came about, who's involved, how, the where, all that good stuff.
So the show is Miasma the series, and it is a 5-part YouTube mini series that will be debuting this Friday. Episode 1 launches. That's Friday, February 3rd on YouTube on my YouTube channel, the Miasma Citadel. Again, you type in Zakk Ramses, you'll find the channel very easily. The show is, as the title states, it's Miasma the series. Zakk Ramses is the Miasma, and so you're getting the character that is Zakk Ramses, but in a way that hasn't been done before. And to your question about the origin point of it, it's something that hasn't been done in this capacity on independent wrestling at that stage, which was my goal here. As you're very well aware, this day and age, it is challenging to stand out in wrestling when people have a zillion options. You can stream every show. You can 15 shows a day. On weekends, it's 35 shows a day. There's so much great talent out there. So many great wrestlers out there. And so, how do you stand out amongst the masses? And a question that any person in this business that's trying to succeed should be asking themselves on a regular basis. I certainly do. And so, within that, I look at my strengths, my weaknesses. How do I maximize my strengths? And so, to me, one of the strengths of Zakk Ramses is I know who I am. I know my character, and my character, my persona, who I am, it goes deep. There's a lot to the Miasma character that I think offers more and more depth than the common guy you'll see on the show. And that's not a knock to anyone else. It's more just my confidence in who I am, because I know that Zakk Ramses is a multi-layered, interesting professional wrestler, but it
Right.
extends beyond the ring. And so what Miasma the series does is it shows you pretty much what's going on with Zakk Ramses beyond wrestling, in the sense that this isn't a video log. This isn't like, again, I'm not to knock anyone else's shows, but it's
Right.
not like one of those where you're following people on the road and you're in backstage. It's not that. This is all right. Zakk Ramses is the leader of this order called the Grim Guild. This guild is, for lack of a better term, it's basically a cult that is inspired to share the ideals of the Greek god known as Erebus. He is he's a lord of darkness. And so Zakk Ramses is a center point in this guild's goal to expand the reach of Erebus. And how does that tie into wrestling? Well, that's exactly what the show entails. And so that may sound bizarre. You're right, it is. And that's exactly the point. There's a lot that's going on there. And I think by the time you finish it, I know, it makes what you see in the ring that much more interesting, more relatable, and it makes it feel more important, because Zakk Ramses doesn't end when he goes behind the curtain. Zakk Ramses is a lot more. And so this show, it was a labor of love that I'm very excited to get out there because it is the Zakk Ramses character, but this is the best connection I can make. It's cinematic, but don't think cinematic and think cinematic matches of the pandemic. It's not that.
Okay.
The closest relation I can make is the stuff that Matt Hardy did in 2016 and Impact with the Broken Universe stuff when they were at the Hardy compound. He had, take Apocalypto and the Final Deletion. However, that was comedically based. This is dramatic. This is shot cinematically. We follow the rules of cinema in that sense, where it's it's more by the within the confines of movies, but without, and it's serious, and so it's different. It's to me, within independent wrestling, it's not something you're getting anywhere else. And as I said from the jump here when you brought me on, that's who Zakk Ramses is with everything I do. I'm not going to be just another guy. And this series, over the next 5 Fridays, 7 o'clock, Friday, February 3rd, Friday, March 3rd, you're going to get a little taste of that. And I'm very excited to get it out there because it was a lot of fun and it's good stuff.
Awesome. You're going to have, I assume, other wrestlers from the independent
No.
scene in it? No?
That's also part of it, where the wrestling aspect starts and ends with Zakk Ramses. And I'll qualify that. There is a wrestler in it who is not a wrestler on the independent scene. He's a wrestler within the story here. But there's not going to be, there's not within this first season of this series. I believe there's going to be more. This is, hey, you want to know who Zakk Ramses is? This is what you've got. And so by the end of it, you're going to have a greater grasp on who Zakk is. And to me, that's exciting because that's when you include other characters of wrestlers in there, you gotta split the screen, which I'm happy to do in the ring. But for this project, the goal is for you to know me. And so right now, that's where it's at.
That sounds very intriguing, Zakk.
When?
It really does. Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to see the first episode.
Yeah, no, it's streaming everywhere on Friday, and if you follow me on social media, which we'll do all the plugs and whatnot later, I'm sure. But we're trickling some stuff out there now, so there is some information between the website and there's a trailer out and a couple little things I've posted that kind of start to give you the flair. But I'm a big J.J. Abrams mystery box fan, where I don't want to give you much until you see it. That makes it more fun to me. So,
but you're gonna have other co-stars.
Oh yeah. Listen, it's not me monologuing for 5 episodes.
Okay.
It's a full cast. It's a lot of very interesting, dynamic characters, but they don't happen to be pro wrestlers. So
that's awesome.
It's a great cast, and the series is carried by the strength of the script and the strength of the performances, and that's where I hang my hat on this thing, because it's a quality story that the other ladies and gentlemen that joined me on screen, they came to play and really brought their acting chops, and we really created some great stuff.
Right. Oh, that's awesome, man. I can't wait to watch this. I mean, I'm very intrigued now.
That's the point.
When I first, we talked to each other, and I saw this, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be about like a wrestling, like you're wrestling other people, and
Mhm.
like, but it sounds like way more than that.
Yep,
So
exactly.
that's great that you're coming on not just my platform but other platforms to explain how it's going to work, so
Exactly.
people understand it. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off with how you fell in love with this wonderful world that we call wrestling.
The evil temptress of professional wrestling. How did I fall
Oh,
under her spell? It's a great. I mean, listen, it's multifaceted, but simply put, and it kind of links together to the whole point of Miasma the series here, where
oh,
I love great characters, and obviously within my creation of this series,
right.
my love of the cinema comes out here. But I'm a fan of wrestling. I'm a fan of film. I'm a fan of music where you're telling stories. Yeah, that's to me that's
Yeah,
the price of life. And wrestling, it grabbed me at a young age because you have these personas that you can't experience anywhere else because they're so large, but also the athletic feats combined, you can't get that anywhere else. And so, I think to the time as a young kid in the mid 2000s here in on Long Island, New York, watching Thursday Night SmackDown, and
mhm,
one of the earliest characters I remember was JBL when he was WWE champion.
right,
When he was running things on there, that was a character I jumped out to me. The character that jumped out to me the most as a kid was the Undertaker, and obviously within my aesthetic, you can see influence.
right,
But, that's just a character that is all inspiring on so many fronts. And then you saw what they did in the ring, and it's like, well, hot damn, we we got something going on here that I can't tune to any other channel and get. So
right.
that love began to grow with that.
Awesome. All right, now you're in love
Yeah.
with wrestling.
Oh yeah.
What made you decide, hey, this is what I want to do? And how did you start training? And who are some of your mentors during that training process?
So for me, I played college football. I played football at the University of Delaware in Newark, Delaware. I played there for 5 seasons. Good competitive Division I football, and I cut my teeth and was an accomplished athlete there. But while I worked and grinded in football, my
Mhm.
passion was always wrestling. It had been since I was a kid. It was through that whole experience.
Right.
So as my days of college football were winding down, I was at my peak of wrestling appreciation, where I was watching everything I possibly could.
Right.
I really, and we'll probably talk more about this later, but my great appreciation really came from watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, where I really became a fan of the craft in a way that I never had before. And
Right.
so at that time, as I was phasing out of football, I knew my days were done with that game. I was like, well, I'm in my physical prime right now. I'm strong. I'm
Mhm.
conditioned. I know I have the work ethic and the mentality to excel in athletics. Now let me combine that with my greatest passion, pro wrestling, and let's give this thing a run, because I know I can do it, because physically I can do it, and mentally there's no breaking me in my love of this sport. So
Right.
at that point, I knew this was something that it was time to
It
do
was
it.
meant to
And we're
be.
going to do it hard. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Who was some of the mentors? Well, where did you train? Number one, and who were some of the mentors who trained you and guided you to your
I
up to your first match? Let's put it that
So
way.
I'm based out of New York Wrestling Connection, NYWC, in Deer Park, New York. I trained there starting in 2019,
All right.
and the trainers there. You have Bull James, the former Bull Dempsey of NXT
Right.
fame, Rex Lawless, an accomplished name on the independent scene, and Michael Mastretta, another accomplished name on independent wrestling around here. And those three were the guys who spearheaded my growth, where Bull and Rex specifically, as far as their size, were excellent mentors in the sense that they taught me how to work as a big man, which is a lost art in this business. And they emphasize from day one, they're like, the second you give up your size and you start working like everyone else, the allure is gone. And as I've now said here multiple times, I try to make myself different. And so,
Stand out. Right.
yeah, maintaining that size and the strength that comes with it, and the unique nature of working that comes with being a big man, was something
Right.
that they really pushed hard. And I embraced, and it's who I am in the ring. And then Michael Mistretta is someone who no one invested more time in me day in and day out training than that man did.
Like,
He's a great friend who, we watch film, hit the road together, train together. He always gave me great foundations and then built upon the little things in ways that I'm forever grateful for. So those three men are the guys who really stand out. Also, I've had a lot of mentors capacities in different areas as I've traveled up and down the East Coast in the last couple of years that have all contributed in great ways to help make me who I am.
absolutely. He's also the current NXT, and I almost said NXT, New York NYWC champion.
Correct. Yeah, Mike is running strong, heading into their Psycho Circus event in February,
Right.
and I'm excited for him. He's more than earned the opportunity to run with that title there for them and to be the guy. And he's been the guy for a long time, even before he had that belt. So he's it's earned. And listen, you go and watch him wrestle. He's going to give you a great performance. And
I've seen him wrestle.
Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Absolutely.
All right. So now let's lead up to your first match. Who was your opponent, and what were some of the emotions that went through you as you're going through this match?
So, I'll say this. I technically, everyone has a first match, but I kind of have two first matches. And what I mean by that is, at NYWC, what they have, as many other training academy / promotions have, they have birthday party shows where a family or someone can pay X amount of money to come bring their kids or their friend or whoever, have a birthday party, and the wrestlers in the academy they'll go put on a show for them, and it's a legitimate production. You'll wrestle in front of 50, 75 kids, depending on how big the party may be, and it's a great experience to learn in. But it's also, you're working in front of people. So I technically had my first match on there, which was a tag match. It was me and Joey Conway against
Joey Conway.
Yeah, and Rex Lawless. That was technically my first match, but that was about, let's see, that was early March. So that would have been maybe a month and a half into me training. I think a back blow and a couple stomps, and I think I took a body slam. I think that was it, which, not to minimize that, it was my first performance in front of people.
Right.
But as far as like a paying crowd goes on an actual promoted show, I wrestled another NYWC regular, Satanta Fury. He was known as Irish at that time. We had a single match on that show. And it was a unique experience on a lot of levels. Irish is a great guy, and again, he's been in NYWC for a long time. He seriously banged up his knee the night before, and it wasn't even in wrestling. I forget exactly how it happened, but he was all jacked up. But we had the match announced, and we were delivering the match. So I'm here getting ready for my first real match in front of people that paid to see me wrestle, and I'm like, all right, so this guy's like hobbled right now, so which is challenge for even a more experienced guy, depending on the situation. But I'm like, all right, how do I make this one work?
Right.
They're like, all right, he's limited. He can't really wrestle a full match. So I was, to your question about how I was feeling going into it, I was nervous because I'm like, all right, there's pressure already. Now I gotta think outside the box and make this go. And so we're like, all right, he can't really shine up too much. So we burst through the curtain and brawled around ringside into the ring. My cutoff came in the first 30 seconds I was brawling through there. And we then jumped into it, which again, not a conventionally structured match, but it was, again, to me, it was enthralling as a fan. I'm a fan of a lot of different wrestling, as I referenced before, but I love Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody. I'm a big fan of
I'm a Bruiser Brody fan, yeah.
And that big beat 'em up brawling. And so we're in the back. I'm like, I'm Brody here. I'm just gonna beat you inside. That's how we're starting this thing, and then we're gonna go. So it was exciting. It was nerve-wracking as all hell, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a great experience that I certainly learned a lot from, as you do every time you step into the ring. And watching it back, it was something unique and something I definitely hold on to. And the funny thing is, and still this day, I don't know how it happened. I have a slight scar on my shoulder here from that match that I still have no idea how it happened. even though we were brawling, there wasn't like chairs or anything. Like, it's not like we were using weapons. So I don't know how it happened.
You have the scar.
But I have a mark from my first match, emotionally and physically. So
Physically.
it's lasting the test of time.
That's awesome. They're just coming out with a Bruiser Brody figure. Did you hear about that?
I did. It looks good.
Yeah, Power Town Wrestling, I believe, is the company.
Yeah, I definitely, I think they did a nice job. So, wrestling figures, sometimes they're very miss, sometimes they're great, and so this is one I think they did a really nice job on.
Are you a collector? Like, do you collect figs?
Wrestling figures, I used to for a time. I stopped mostly because when I collected as a kid, it was on mom and dad's dime. When I got a little older, it became my financial responsibility. I was like, I have
Yikes!
to choose what I'm buying now, and so I fell out of it in that way. I am an avid collector of other things. I'm a big vinyl music guy, so typically when I do have spare change in that sense now, as I'm older, I'll buy vinyl, and that's a very expensive hobby to have. So that's where I spend a lot of my cash.
Just like the figs, man. I'm collecting the figs and the Funko Pops, and it's like,
oh, well, that's just a wormhole you go into and you get spit out, and
you just get sucked in it, and it's hard to climb out.
Oh no! I have avoided that for that reason. I'll grab one or two here. I'm like, oh man, I love the band Ghost, and they've got so many great Funkos now. I'm like, I could easily buy all of these. It'd be great. But I'm trying not to.
Which Funkos would you be most interested in? Because I'm a huge Funko guy.
Yeah, I mean those Ghost ones I love for sure. That's definitely a couple there. I'm a big Family Guy fan. The Peter Griffin pop is one that I've wanted for a while, and it's kind of become expensive. At least my most recent searches of it, where I'm like, I'm going to grab this one day. Right. A couple that I do have that I do hold fondly is I do have the that first line of New Japan ones when it was Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks,
Cody.
Right. I grabbed all those when those first came out because those came out when I was still a fan. And again, as I said, New Japan was my
big
love.
For you,
right. Really booming. Fortunately, they're on the comeback now. But so I hold on to those. Those are definitely a couple keepsakes I have. And I'm even looking around my room right now to see what I got down here. That I can. I got Uncle Iroh from Avatar. That's one I love. I mean, I love Avatar, so that's a keepsake. So. To the point, there's a zillion different options, which is why it's
I know. I hear you. I have all those as well. Awesome. I have the Kenny and the Cody sign.
Yes. Awesome stuff.
Awesome stuff. All right, let's go into the first tough gimmick match you've had.
So the first tough gimmick match I would have had. Again, I'm gonna give you two answers here. I'm sorry, I'm kind of cheating a couple times here, but I think they're relevant. One was a gimmick that the gimmick wasn't what made it hard, but ended up being hard. And then the other one was a gimmick that the gimmick itself was what made it challenging. So the first one here was my November of 2019. Again, it was in my first year. It was a 4-way tag team match. It was myself and Rex Lawless were teaming. This is for Full Faith Wrestling in Deer Park. It was myself and Rex Lawless against 3 other teams, one of which was above the rest, which is Tristan Ty and Gabriel Sky. And so it was us, those two, and the main event, and the Elements. That was the 4 teams. And so 4-way tag match is a gimmick in its own right. Not that it's crazy, but the challenge of it came when Tristan, who I ended up coming to know pretty well after the match, I didn't know him prior to my first time meeting him. He tore his ACL in the middle of the match. A planche did to the outside, and literally the next spot was he was supposed to roll in, and we were supposed to run something. And he rolled in, and I go to grab him. He's like, "Dude, I can't stand." I'm like, "What?" And so,
like what?
Green as Godzilla. I didn't know anything at this time. So all of a sudden, I'm like, we didn't go over this one in training. How do I handle this? And so, I'm like, can you do anything? He's like, no. I'm like, great. So it's me and him alone in here. And we've got, again, as most multi-tag team matches do, we have a zillion called move for move spots lined up. I'm like, this is tricky. So I just start going and beeling other guys in the ring. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, Tristan's down. We got to do something. So all of a sudden there's 8 of us in the ring. The ref's pulling Tristan out carefully so he can take him to the back because he can't do anything. And so we end up within this mayhem coming up with a way to cover things. And Gabriel, I give him so much credit where he ended up pretty much saving the match, where he ran every spot for him and Tristan on his own, and it was incredible. And he's such a phenomenal talent. But we made it work, all things considered. But that was a gimmick that wasn't supposed to be challenging. That was. And then conversely, the real gimmick match was my first real challenge was during the pandemic. I had my first ladder match. It was myself and Corey Cooper, also from NYWC, and it was for NYWC does in connection with Other Half Brewing. They do like some beer festival shows, and so it was a show we did on location at the NYWC Training Academy that streamed for Other Half. It was him and I in a ladder match for that, which was my first ladder match, but a ladder match in the COVID era, no fan atmosphere was double.
Oh man,
so at least in a normal ladder match, the fans are going to react to things, and that's going to give you space to kind of figure out what's working, as any match is, but especially with these big spots and whatnot, it also gives you more breathing room. Here, it was very different, and Corey, unfortunately, he's no longer in the business. He's transitioned to the other side where he's working another gig now. But he and I love working with him, and we really did make it work. I was very proud of that match, but it was a challenge for sure that I definitely was willing and able to go into. But we really had to think outside the box to make that one work, and it was a lot of fun. And definitely worked pretty well, all things considered. So I was pleased with the challenging nature of that.
Okay, awesome. Let's talk about an opponent that you want to face in the indie scene.
Oof. Boy, oh boy. Always $1 million question.
Yes.
The guys out there right now, if I'm picking one, he's just a guy that I really enjoy in his indie work, and fortunately he's riding high on television now, and I'm happy for him. He's a guy, Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia, I think, is just so tremendous. Again, we keep coming back to this idea of character and persona, where this guy can do anything in the ring with anyone, and he's fantastic. But he just carries himself with such swagger and authority that I just think that I would love the opportunity to step into the ring with a guy like him and mix it up and see what we could come up with together. I think would be a really interesting thing, because again, for me, as 6'9", 280 pounds, I am an entity that Garcia doesn't encounter much in AEW or anywhere else on the indie scene. And so I think that it would be a different match. And I think it would end up being something really different and fun from his catalog. And for me to work with a guy of his talent caliber, I mean, I can just imagine what things I would come up with. So someone that's high up there for me.
Okay. Tell me about some of the things you like to do outside of wrestling.
Outside of wrestling, I am, as I've referenced before, I'm a huge music guy. I'm a huge film guy. I mean, you look behind me right now. You've got
Black Sabbath,
Sabotage there. That's actually that's a painting from Dante's Inferno. That's not what I'm even talking about. But yeah, I am messed up with the camera here. But got Black Label Society there. Ghost is next to Black Label Society over there. I've got Metallica behind me. I love live events. I love music. I'm planning on heading out to England this summer to go to Download in Donington. Headlined by Metallica, Slipknot, Beyond the Bring Me to Horizon, Ghost. There's a zillion people on that, but I'm planning on hitting that. I love all that. Film is to the point of my asthma series. It's a passion of mine. I've written 15 scripts that I do plan to continue to produce over time here, of a various range of genres and feelings. This is the only one I have that actually deals with, but just felt like a natural project to do. where I am. But I love writing and I love directing. And again, directing a film is so akin to calling a match in wrestling. You have a vision, and you need to talk with the other people you're creating with here to see
Right.
that through. So it's really a sidestep more than anything. It's very much a natural movement. And so that's another passion of mine, both creating and viewing. I mean, 2022, there's so many great films I got to sit down and enjoy. I mean, Closed Out by Avatar, I think was that's probably my movie of the year. And I was not a big fan of the first one, but I thought
I'm not, so I didn't go see the second one.
that was me. In 2009, I literally think I fell asleep in the theater during the first one. I was
Right.
checked out. And I was like, and whatever year it was, 2013, when they announced 4 sequels, I was like, who's the audience? Who's asking for this? I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I didn't get the first one. It just
No.
didn't ring with me.
But I give James Cameron credit. Man is he is adept at sequels. He is, Terminator, Aliens, you name it. He crushes sequels. And so, I was when the buzz kind of came out about this, and I was like,
Right.
I'll check it at some point, probably. And one of my buddies during the holidays is like, hey, I'm going to see it in Manhattan at this at the AMC Empire there. They got they show it in a certain Dolby 3D setup there. If anyone wants to come with, I was like, I'm free. Screw it, why not? I'll go check it out. So I went in with an indifferent expectation and came out blown away. It was phenomenal on so many fronts. And again, the first one I left it, I was like, whatever. This one, I can't wait for the sequel.
Really?
And that's so much fun to me. That's why reviews are, it's great. It kind of gives you a sense.
Right.
You gotta make up your opinion for yourself, because sometimes it just hits you different and you don't know why, but it does. So
Right. Okay.
I could talk about this stuff forever, but that's just the tip of the iceberg with some of the ways I spend my time.
Well, definitely another one is coming, and then more planned.
Yeah, no, they filmed 2 and 3 together.
Right.
4 and 5 are in production now, if I'm not mistaken. So
I believe so too.
yeah, so it's listen, if they did 2 and 3 together and they're on the same wavelength here, story wise and vibe, I mean, I'm sold. So I'll certainly be seeing number 3, and then and that's what I liked about it so much too. Again, I equate it to wrestling, where well-laid storyline, you're planting seeds for 9 months down the road in the first 2 months. And Avatar 2, they planted so many seeds. I remember coming out, I was like, dude, like, they set this up, and they didn't even touch it. So, like, this, they're getting into this and that, and 4 and 5. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, there's just so much long-term vision that is, again, that's where, again, between wrestling and film, that's where I get my kicks. It's just well thought out storytelling expertise. It's second to none for me.
Gotcha. I think my favorite movie of the year combines movies and music. Elvis.
Oh yeah, no, again, definitely
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
Phenomenal film.
Yeah, the summertime we had a couple nice blockbusters like that surprised me. That was a good one in there. It's not at all the same thing, and people often laugh at me when I bring it up in the same conversation. But I love the Bob's Burgers movie. I thought that was fantastic. I thought they did a great job. I mean, ironically, it's one I haven't gotten around to still. But Top Gun Maverick, everyone says was incredible. I didn't get to see it this summer, but that's one I really owe myself to check out, because so many people said that was great. So it was a good year for blockbusters, that's for sure. So
yeah, definitely, it was good. I watched it.
Yeah, I owe it to myself to go and do that eventually. Tom Cruise is one of those guys that just doesn't usually catch me, so I just kind of put it off. And then I've heard enough about it that I really need to go do it.
We got a comment from my friends that the dudes at ringside. A match between Zakk and Jay George would be an Oscar match.
Listen, I'm all for that. You don't have to push me too much.
Let's talk about. You know what's a good topic I like to discuss? Ribbing.
Okay.
Tell me about a rib that was played on you, and by who, and one you played on someone.
Rib that was played on me. That's significant enough to share. That's a good question, because I'm honestly, I don't have too many, Unfortunately, I guess enough. I think I'm an exception here.
Nobody's trying to trick you.
Uh, yeah, I'm hoping I'm not giving anyone ideas now.
That's right. You're opening
Uh,
it up now.
yeah, no, I've had enough. I just don't want to share. But yeah, honestly, that's a good question. Oof,
I
again,
heard some real good ones.
yeah, no, I can only imagine what you've heard on here. Um,
I heard a Roderick Strong one, a Big Show one from Mike Mondo.
uh, listen, Mondo's got stories for days, so I can only
Yeah, man,
imagine
I
with
know.
him. So,
Yeah.
uh, geez, yeah, I'm gonna have to sit on that. I'll have to, if I come up with it, I'll have to comment on Instagram or Facebook and share it after the fact when this is posted because I'm
Okay.
blanking. So good question. As far as when I partook in, um, one of my favorite ones. I wasn't directly the perpetrator, but I definitely assisted. Um, was This was early on in my career. It was I was driving to a chaotic wrestling show up in Massachusetts. It was myself. It was a great car. It was myself. It was Bull James, my trainer,
Okay.
Mike Verna,
Uh-huh.
Richard Holiday, Ryan Clancy, and Michael Mistretta. That was our car, and again, a bunch of talented dudes. Uh, Verna and Holiday were booked. Myself, Ryan, and Mike, we were hoping to get on, and Bull was like, "I'm free this weekend. I'm going to come along." And at that point, we realized that this was a recipe for disaster for someone because
Right.
Bull can be mischievous when idle, and it was here where he he got the aux. And again, I was driving, so technically I called the shots on who gets the aux, but I was like, you're my trainer, I respect you, and obviously I'm low man on the totem pole, so put on what you want. He was playing some good tunes or whatever, and then he kind of got into some playing some goofy songs or whatever. We got some Richard Cheese and stuff in there, whatever it was, and
Mhm.
so then he played a song that was used as a rib against him from Mikey Whipwreck back in the day that
Uh-huh.
he ended up ribbing Richard Holiday on where it's, what is it from? Geez, it's from some 90s cartoon film. It's not South Park. I forget what it is. But it's Now You're a Man is the song. I don't know if you know, but anyway. It's a stupid song, but Bull played it and like Holly was like, that was stupid. And Bull's like, oh yeah? It's like, James, Zakk, let me hold on to the auction. It's like, you do you, man. And he must have played that thing on loop for legitimately 2 hours.
Oh man.
And, and then from that point on, every time Holiday said something, volume
Huh.
went up, and he just would turn back slowly, look at me, and then keep going. I was like, boy, this is not going to be a long 6-hour drive.
All right.
But
Nice.
it just went and went and went. And I know every word to that song because
Right, because you listened to it for 6 hours.
you could not. Yeah, you were forced to memorize it. So
Oh
that
my
was
God, that's a great one.
yeah, it was definitely very entertaining and at Holiday's expense. But everyone else, we got a kick, so it was good.
I love it. All right, let's go into what's your favorite venue that you've wrestled out of?
Ooh, that's a good question. One of my favorite venues is Outlaw Wrestling, which is Bull's promotion. They wrestle in they run out of several areas in Brooklyn, Queens, and on the island. One of the favorites that I've had the opportunity to perform in is he does shows out of the Great South Bay Brewery in Bayshore. They set up the ring right smack dab in the middle, and it's just such a great vibe and time every single time you go through there, and it's a great opportunity when there's just so many people that go to the brewery just to go get a beer, and you end up having an awesome crowd of people that don't know wrestling, but you get the product and you get yourself over because they're there for a good time, and if you're getting yourself going, they're getting into it, and it's
Right.
awesome. So that's one that jumps out to me. Um, Another one that I definitely very much enjoy is down in Delaware. I work for Dynamite Championship Wrestling often. Um, They have a spot in Felton, Delaware. There, that is one of their regular locations. That it's a really nice spot as far as the spacing of the venue goes, and the the layout of the entrance setup and the seating there, and then how that flows into the actual the merch area. It's nice stuff. I definitely liked it a lot. And then easy answers with Ridgefield Park, the arena that Pro Wrestling Magic and many of the Jersey uh, locals run over there. I've had the opportunity to work there, and that's a great spot that I also very much enjoy. Um, Fortunately, I've had the opportunity to work in a lot of places from Maine down North Carolina and Pittsburgh back across the island and everywhere in between. So I've had lots of different experiences in different spots. Those are a few that just jump out to me quickly here, but wrestling will take you to a lot of interesting places. Some great, some not as great, but that's half the fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's go into. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. There it is, the series premiere this week.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really excited to get this out there. It's been a lot of hard work and fine tuning, and it's really exciting to get this out because again, the story of Zakk Ramses. I think people are going to view what I do in the ring differently after seeing this product. It's going to add a whole new element to who I am as a performer.
Right.
And also, again, I think for a lot of people, there people are going to watch this that don't know anything about wrestling or don't know Zakk Ramses as a wrestler, but you're going to be invested in the character because the story it lends itself to it.
Right.
And there's some twists and turns in there. There's some things that if you know who Zakk Ramses is, and if you follow my career, you'll be like, okay, I can see this. And there's other things that be like, that's definitely didn't see that coming, or that's a whole nother layer that I'm really digging. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's a journey. And for anyone who stays through for all 5 episodes, which I implore anyone who does watch one to watch all 5, it's fulfilling. And it's and again on the post there you have Albert Marks and Ari Baskar. They're 2 of my co-stars, and they both are tremendous. And all the names you see on that poster there, as far as the cast and crew alike, really brought their A game. And you're going to be really fortunate to get to see what this crew did together here.
Awesome. The poster itself is kind of mysterious. You know what I'm saying? Like you're intrigued by it. You're like, all right, let's take a look and see what's going on here.
Yeah.
So great job on getting that poster. That's awesome.
Thank you. My handiwork. I try to do it all, man.
That's good. You should be versatile if you know, in entertainment at least. You know, either way.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's plug some of your appearances coming up.
So this Saturday, I return to Johnstown, Pennsylvania, out west in PA there. I am the reigning and defending undefeated All or Nothing Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. I defend my title against WCW star T. Ranchula. So I will be facing off of the Pittsburgh Legend on Saturday. Awesome. The following Saturday, as previously mentioned, I'll make my Victory Pro Wrestling debut in a 4-way with Alvarez, Ryan, Jacobs. It's going to be some clobbering and some brawling, and it's going to be a great time. And Zakk Ramses will remain victorious there. I have no doubt about that. And Alvin, you know better than to come against me because you should have learned your lesson last time. So get ready for that.
Absolute.
But I'm there for that Saturday. Friday the 24th, I head out to Deer Park to familiar terrain, but for a unfamiliar promotion. I make my Remarkable Wrestling debut.
Remarkable Wrestling.
Yes, I will be making my debut in their Rumble match that day. So they try to come in and make a splash and let people know Zakk Ramses is here to stay. And we're going to remain in business on my debut there. And then the following day, I will be making my debut in another promotion, which I cannot yet say because what I'm doing is not technically announced yet. So you'll have to follow me on my social media where that is and what's going on. So we got some stuff coming up. Plus, every Friday along that stretch there, we got a new episode of Miasma the Series coming out. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the world of Zakk Ramses that you don't want to miss a piece of.
There's a lot of Zakk Ramses coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. That's great. talk about where everybody can follow you.
Absolutely. So, Twitter, Instagram, it's Zakk Ramses. That's ZAKKRAMSES. You see it on my crew neck here. You see it on my beanie here. You can't miss it. Search me up, and you can find me on there. On Facebook, it is The Miasma Zakk Ramses. That's the full title. Again, if you type in Zakk Ramses, I'll come up regardless. I am now on TikTok because I've been behind that because I've tried to avoid getting sucked into that vortex. But I recognize it's a platform that people love. So I took the dive. So I'm on there now. YouTube, again, for whether it's watching Miasma series or just seeing matches, other appearances I've done on podcasts and YouTube shows, and opinion pieces I've done, a whole bunch of stuff. That's the Miasma Citadel. That's on there. You can check me out on there. And otherwise, come out and see it live, folks, because I could tell you what I bring to the table. Seeing is believing. And I promise you, you won't leave not a fan when you see me doing what I do, because I do it pretty damn well.
Awesome. What about some merch? Where can we get some merch?
Oof. If you want Zakk Ramses merch, and trust me, I've got a plethora. You got to come get it in person. I have merch stands at every show I go to. I never am lacking. Again, we got hoodies, we got crew necks, we got a bunch of different T-shirts, we got beanies, we've got baseball caps. Yeah, we got 8x10s, we got wristbands, we got stickers. You name it, I've got it. And we got sweatpants, anything Zakk Ramses that looks good. And trust me, anything I make, I'm not giving you crap. It's quality, it's good brands, and it looks good. I'm wearing it because I like it. I wouldn't put anything out there that I would not feel comfortable wearing. So trust me, it looks good, and you won't go wrong. And other people are gonna say, hey, that's some nice stuff. And trust me, I see it often. So you'll be the talk of the town. That's what everyone wants.
Awesome. I'm going to plug some stuff real quick.
Do it.
This Wednesday at 8:30, I have my special guest, Riley Knox. She's joining me on the podcast on Wednesday, as well as Devlin Macabre. She's coming on the podcast Wednesday. I believe her slot is 7. But I will post it on my social media, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Also, I will also be at Victory Pro Wrestling Presents Notorious.
There we go.
Now featuring Zakk Ramses with Absolute Alvin, the Jawline Percy Ryan, and Travis Jacobs in a fatal 4-way. Also will be there the Notorious Mimi. She will be there that night as well. All your VPW stars. Make sure you get your tickets at victoryprowrestling.com for the February 11th show. Also, they're doing sponsorship packages, so make sure you check that out on their page. And we're going to be giving away 2 tickets for the show next week. So stay tuned for that.
So much great talent on that show. You don't want to miss that.
So much great talent. I was out promoting yesterday, doing flyers and all that stuff. Also at Taurus, I will be there filming the next vlog interaction featuring the 23-6 Heavyweight YouTube Championship.
Ooh.
Who's going to take the title away from the Solution? Anything can happen with the 23-6 title, as you've seen before in the past. So make sure you stay tuned for that episode coming out in February. As well, I want to plug the Ballad of Gia and Frankie, A Journey of Hope and Destruction, featuring wrestler Gia Savitz, a wrestling documentary. Let's make sure we support independent wrestling. Pick this up on Venmo On Demand, as well as purchasing it on Venmo. Ooh, there's a lot of stuff going on, Zakk.
Oh, yeah.
I will also be at the Big Horror event in New York. Make sure you come down March 11th for that. I will also be at Icons of Wrestling. Make sure you come to Philly to check me out. I will be with Robbie Rebel. Come down and check that out, as well as Miasma, the series.
There we go.
I slept.
You landed it, though, dude. That's what it's about. Now you start.
I did. I recovered it. That starts this Friday at 7 o'clock.
Yes,
Make sure you check out the series, please. Zakk will be at VPW, which, that's my home. So I'm excited for that. And then later on tonight at 8:30, we're going to have Lara Frazier. She's coming on the podcast. Make sure you stay tuned for that. As for everything else, Zakk, thank you for being on the show. Appreciate you coming on.
Absolute
pleasure. I will see you definitely at VPW.
No doubt.
Can't wait to meet you in person. I'll give you a sticker.
Listen, honored. Thank you.
So
Thank
my,
you.
you
Great
know,
questions. Great show you got here.
thank you, thank you.
Pleasure. I'd love to chat again soon.
Absolutely. We'll have you back on, maybe in the
No doubt.
summer. I'm
Let's
bringing
do it.
everybody back in the summer.
Absolutely. Here we go. Love it.
All
Love
right,
it.
guys. I will see everybody soon. Everybody else, have a good night and stay tuned.